I'm Dr. Lalith. I was founding head of pharmacology, Department of Pharmacology, Faculty of Medicine, California, and screen and brain became my research subject about 7-8 years ago. And I found that more screen is used by kids, more pixel consumption, more their brains move into ADHD pattern of behavior, attention deficit, hyperactivity and impulsivity. And this, so I presented my seminar findings, academic findings to SLMA academic section in 2019. So the document is available on the College of General Practitioners website, and if you send me a request, I can send it to you also by WhatsApp 076-313-4800. The problem begins at this point when this is our default mode network of thought, that is everybody thinks and does in 1 hour slots, and we are supposed to get into our intentional empathic top-down regulation with dopamine initiating and maintaining focus. That's called salience, and dopamine will work for 40 minutes and it must be allowed to rest, come down. And then serotonin works for satiety, check back, look back, did I do well, did I study properly. The same thing works for character, but what I did, was it right, how do I improve, is the reward motive brought in by serotonin. So if you just study for 1 hour or do work for 40 minutes and allow yourself to feel that need for check back, you will study well as well. So it is a character issue as well as a learning issue. When the kid is on the screen without stopping, that 40 minutes cycle goes off and the dopamine moves from physiological dopamine 1 to addictive dopamine 2, and then they keep on saying, inside them they keep on doing do. That's the addictive behavior. So it can be games, it can be pornography, it can be gambling, and they don't recover the serotonin cycle. So keep every hour brain happy. Digitized kids and adults feel useless, joyless, and then they move into depression. Particularly girls move into chronic fatigue syndrome easier than boys. So it is interesting that in the suicide statistics presented, that boys were males were 800 odd and women were 140 odd. So it's I think before this ratios were fairly equal. So the men have felt the pressure. It would be interesting to see in a younger generation under 25 whether more males are committing suicide than females. Whereas in the former scene, girls get chronic fatigue syndrome faster because of dopamine depletion. Then what happens is they go into anti-reward, then they feel pain is pleasurable, endorphins start working, and they do painful things to get themselves thrilled, so they start cutting themselves. At that point, suicidal thoughts enter. As you know, Blue Whale and other apps promote suicide. Even if they are not on apps that promote suicide, when dopamine is depleted and you feel useless and endorphins are working, they begin to do harmful things, thinking that way they are getting some attention or they are occupied. So this is where digital addiction moves to dangerous situations. So what we do is train parents through seminars in the corporate, schools, banks, train parents to prevent the digital addiction, because their sleep gets disturbed, their food habits get disturbed, they go late into the night, sometimes whole night they go on gaming and get up at about 12 noon So the melatonin process in the brain is completely disrupted. If a kid is sleep disrupted, the kid will do drastic things. Kid will not learn, memory fails, curriculum fails, character fails. He begins to dare bad things or dangerous things all the time. We have the thing Paninta Pera Sita Balanu, they get on to Sitanta Pera Panla Balanu. So they get into peril, experimental, thrill mode. So parents must not allow that to happen. So we have suggested some safeguards, such as don't allow them to take the digital gadget into the room, and now this becomes very difficult. And when I do a consultation, I find that mom is very worried about the problem and the father disengages from the problem child. This is perhaps Asian culture or maybe global culture. When the boy or girl is doing well, winning prizes, doing studies well, father feels a hero and he's there for the prize giving and for the sports meet. But when they get into trouble, it's the mother who takes the trouble. And when they come to me, I insist father and dad and mom both must come with the child. Often the mother says father is not available, but my secretary will not give an appointment unless the father comes. So he comes and sits in front of my desk, looking unwilling, reticent, moody, and whenever I ask a question, it's the mother who answers, but I direct the question to the dad. So I ask him what is the son's favorite subject. He turns his head round to mother, looking helpless because he has not engaged the child at all. So main reason for digital addiction is father absence and no bonding in the family. So we have to insist when dad comes home and mom comes home, that time belongs to the child. These are some of the things you have to do in the consultation. And then we take them on to our empathic learning therapy center has crafts, take aim games such as table tennis, carom, and whatever crafts are good. But our main emphasis is on empathic motor therapy. This is what you see. As empathic motor therapy, we innovated about 5 years ago, and in our Borella Center we have a 3,600 square feet area with what you see on the screen, grips and ropes. What happens with grips and ropes is the small joints, when you put the small joints to work, the glutamate tracts of the central nervous system begins to function. Glutamate tracts put down the dopamine addiction. So we recommend dad to come and do this. We have a supervisor, he will help. But that dad engagement is very important for any child to come out of addiction. Mother makes it daily safe every day when things are normal. When boundaries are violated, father has to step in. So part of the therapy is dad being with the child. This track can be, as you can see, this is engageable from about 7 years onwards. This has low ropes, mid ropes, high ropes. High ropes, of course, you have to do with harness and helmet. So because these kids are into thrill, they think this is a thrilling activity. So this Saturday at 4 p.m. 27th, this Saturday at 4 p.m. 27th, we have a big program. We invite all of you to come there and observe what is happening. And if you want more details, please send a WhatsApp to 076 313 4800. 076 313 4800. So this is what you see. We recommend for a child who is severely digitally addicted daily to come with dad and do this. If it's mild to moderate addiction, maybe once a week, twice a week, they can come in. The whole course will take about 1 hour to do, but many children will not be able to do the high ropes because it is with harness and helmet.
I got it earlier.
What we do is we arrange teams to come and it becomes like a competition. So because of the competition kind of desire, they do this, and even severe addiction can be reversed in about 6 months. And we say addiction when the child's sleep pattern is disturbed, he doesn't take normal meals, he's all the time eating tippy tips and that kind of stuff to keep his stimulation going. There are many other things we do to prevent and reverse, but this is the therapy side of it. Harvard presented this some time back. And it's called Fit Kids. Harvard program is called Fit Kids. We call it empathic motor therapy. You can find, I can send you the notes if you want to. If you send me a WhatsApp to 0763134800. It's also on the internet. If you do Dr. Lalith plus empathic motor therapy, you will get many articles on it. And as I said, College of General Practitioners website has this. So here are some things we tell them, very simple things. Well organized meal times, happy family meal. So at meal times, no phone at all, no digital gadgets, no screen if you want to recover the child. Activity time with dad and outdoor is very important because the eye organelles are not developing properly because the children are so much on the screen. So the ophthalmic effects of digital addiction is another specialized field. So we have to recover sunset and sunrise time. So somehow to get them to do some games when their sun is setting. Going to the beach, of course, is ideal. Running on sand has a very particular effect on the glutamate tracts. I repeat, running on sand. So it is worth having a little track in your house, 2 feet wide, 1 foot deep, 10 feet long with sand. If you remember, sand pit is an empathic learning process for younger kids. You remember? We can adopt that even for older kids to run on it and hang a cricket ball and get aim. Take aim, play the ball, hang a cricket ball. Leather ball is preferable because that taking aim, taking rhythm, hearing the sound gets back into their head, timing and rhythm, which is all disrupted by the smart screen. You probably know now that American Pediatric Academy has strongly recommended, all pediatricians strongly recommend, no screen at all before the age of 3. If you give the screen before the age of 3, language scrambles, children will not pick up language, they will talk like parrots. Many parents come to me, referred from schools and my students, children at 6 years old unable to formulate sentence, unable to match words, because before that they spoke like parrots having heard from the screen. So to learn language, children have to listen to parents and siblings. You can learn 2 languages at once with phonemes and grammar and all, listening to adults. You can't learn languages from the smart screen. I repeat, you can't learn language from the smart screen. Children will only talk like parrots. So never give smartphones before the age of 3. No screen during meal times. No cartoons or digital games. No fast digital activity after maybe 8 p.m. Somehow you have to keep 2 hours before sleep uninvaded by the blue frequency. So besides the neuronal behavior that goes wrong and the dopamine serotonin simulation that goes wrong in the brain, all blue frequency contributes to the neuronal failure in the brain. That is, unidirectional firing changes to multidirectional firing, which is the cause of impulsivity, hyperactivity and inattention. So children not only have their attention span become shorter, their attention span has become shallow. So what they study, they think they understood, but they haven't grasped it. So you get a whole lot of children saying, I know, I don't care, those are their common words, you know, very hostile, rude words to cover up the lack they feel inside. So you have to reduce the blue frequency in the house. At least in the area your son and daughter are studying, please change the LED lights to just CFL warm glow. Now there are LED lights saying yellow, but when the market creates a problem and market finds a solution, the science goes fake. So I'd rather not have LED lights where your kids are studying. And if you use 8K screen, 4K screen at home, you will add to the digitized effect of the child through the blue screen. So these are, take a break after digital activity. And children with online studies, they multi-screen, multitask, they're all the time chatting with their friends and going to other websites. So it's a huge problem. If there are some grandparents to supervise at home, it's a good thing. But you don't fight with them, teach them the science. So when they come to me, I speak to them on their side. These graphics that you see, I draw them for them. Now this is a graphic I often draw, where we should work in the prefrontal cortex, dorsolateral aspect, top-down regulation, executive, empathic, reflective, creative, initiation, navigation, end conclusion, reward. And when they are too much on the screen, they go bottom-up regulation. Bottom-up regulation goes through amygdala, hippocampus and hypothalamus. What it means is your last hour is driving you into the next hour. I repeat, your last hour is driving you into the next hour. That is addictive behavior. That's the problem with the screen. Then the child is in dyspathy, impulsive, repetitive, reflexive, always experimenting with thrill.
Doctor, how many?
Yes, Shiromi.
How many? Yes, what I want to know is now, Doctor, how many children are sort of for the last, say we are after lockdown, so how many children have attended your sessions during the last 6 months or last 3 months of this year?
I have done Zoom with them, and I have got requests at least from 150 parents, can I see you, can I see you? So that's why I'm arranging the first big program this Saturday, 4 p.m, 27th Saturday 4 p.m. at 374 Leslie Ranagala Mawata.
Is it a Zoom session?
I'll be doing a Zoom also. I will send you the Zoom, you can send it to whoever. And if anyone wants it, but no, it's not only a Zoom session, it's an on-site session where we are telling parent, bring your troubled kid. So we do the program for parents, how to attend on the child, where there are some things we don't want to tell parents in the presence of the child. There are some things we tell them together. Then the kids are taken into this, we call it den and dare, where the activity center is. So there are arts and crafts, take aim games, and this, what you saw earlier, kids will be put on this. As you can see, 10 kids can do this like they go one after the other. And more they go on the, when they are in a team, they do it in process. It's like a physical training time. And they like the thrill of it, and there are people to help them along. If they can, then we have a climbing wall, small one, with crash pads and all that, all over, so that it's completely safe, it's professionally designed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, then thank you, sir.
Yes.
Now we have to
I understand.
move on.
Yes.
And,
yes.
And thank you so much. Please share the link so that we can give it to the others as well.
Yes.
And moving on, anybody else wants to do a small presentation or discuss as to why you all have
So let me continue with this presentation. So I have that was with the Ministry of Health, Mental Health Directorate did a program for their helpline workers, staff. So I was on this particular slide. Now we are designed by God our Creator so that we will function from our prefrontal cortex to think and do. When the child is too much on the screen, he will want to experiment and see. That is the thrill-peril track. The thrill or the peril track we need. If we start slipping on a banana skin, we automatically adjust ourselves. So if you want the slide presentation, I can send it to you. Please send me a WhatsApp to 076 313 4800. Also remember, we have a well organized program this coming Saturday, 27th, 4 p.m. Please encourage parents who have kids between the ages of 10 and 20 going through this problem to attend the sessions. There are no charges on the sessions. Only if they come to the session do I give a consultation appointment, because they must understand the importance of how to do, what to do at home. Unfortunately, often parents go to a doctor and think a drug can work it out. Drugs are counterproductive for ADHD. That's my research paper, which is available. If you want to receive it, you can say, "Doctor, please send the research paper," and send me a WhatsApp. So we have to get the children out of that bottom-up regulation, thrill, peril, experimental behavior into the executive empathic behavior. Next slide. So I've already said meal time, use it maximally for oxytocin behavior. Meal time is the happiest time for a child. All family memories often remain with us around meal times. Make it the best time. Somehow both parents must sit with kids every meal time during the weekend, and even during the weekdays you have to sit together for dinner, and meal time is completely for meal time, and meal time is children time. Topics you discuss must not be about bad government. Topic you discuss at meal time must be very pleasant to the children. It's not the time to teach them mathematics. It's the time for them to feel happy and taking happy memories. Daily write a timetable for them. Preferably dad should do this before leaving for work. Get them, you write it, they write it. It's the same thing. But ask them, what are you going to do from 8 till 1 o'clock? Usually it will be online studies or schools. Then how to spend the afternoon. Discuss with them and write it down. So that daily impressing on a timetable can be life-saving for them. Character molding for them. Then 6 p.m. sunset time, they must feel it, they must see it. Stop the LED lights. Even if you are at office, it is better for you to get to a window and take some time. It's a very foolish thing to go indoors at 6 p.m. even for gymnasium. It is far better to walk down your road or go to some place like the Oval or some place and do the walking while the sun is setting. That is excellent brain refurbishing activity. And do nothing to rob you the sleep time, because during sleep time our brain recovers health, neuronal refurbishment, melatonin is at work, all bioclocks are set, and our immunity is refurbished during the night. So any disturbance to sleep with blue light, blue frequency I mean, or too much of the screen will ruin your immunity as well. And you know, with infections around, natural immunity is so important. Do not use LED lights in your bedroom or your washroom. Somehow try to change it. I know it may incur some trouble. but this is worth the trouble to preserve your brain. Next slide. Next slide. So keep your attention span for at least 45 minutes. Reading, writing. If you write 4 A4 papers in 2 languages as a habit daily, you prevent Alzheimer. I repeat, if you daily write 4 A4 pages in 2 languages, you prevent Alzheimer. Similarly, playing music or singing along with music is excellent brain refurbishing activity. Don't allow your children to listen to music and study, because you can't listen to music and study. They will say, when I listen to music, I study long. No. When they listen to music, they sit in one place long. That doesn't mean they are studying. Music during study time, while studying, removes the study memory. And hard metal music pushes them into the peril mode of dyspathy and that bottom-up regulation. I have seen many kids, parents bringing them to me because the child's character completely changed when they got into that kind of music. So when they are not studying, listening and singing is a good activity, and playing any instrument, especially the guitar and the violin, improves brain performance. So playing an instrument from an early age is a very good thing to promote. But listening to violent music, do not allow it. And music through earphones affects brain memory a lot. We are not supposed to do our hearing through earphones. We are supposed to do our hearing through both wind conduction and bone conduction. That's how the wise designer, our God, has designed our hearing system. Next slide. Can you get to the slide that has 7 tracks? 7 brain tracks. Now our brain has 7 functional tracks. First one is empathic intuitive, that is how you think about yourself. So this begins to develop in the child from the mother's womb, so that the mother, being conscious of the child, speaking to the baby in the womb, is a very good scientific healthy habit for baby bonding. Even working mothers, while at work, take a little time to be conscious about the little fellow and to speak to the little one. And soon after birth, of course, that bonding is very important for brain brilliance as well. So that is empathic intuitive, is how a child has wired up to understand himself or herself. Second track is empathic relational. That is how you relate to others, the confidence you have to relate to others. So you need to know your child. You can't tell the empathic intuitive child, come out, speak, aunt has come. They don't like that kind of thing. They have to be quietly allowed to join in at the pace they want to. Certainly get them to join in, but don't force them. Whereas the empathic relational child is very sociable, wants to talk and present themselves, tell their story, allow that also. But understand your child. Third track is the linguistic track. As I told you, before the age of 3, never give the scream, because language will scramble. More you do handicraft, building blocks, puzzles, fit them into place, artwork, more finger movements, rhythmic finger movements, and pottery, working with clay, all that improves language ability. Reading, of course, somehow get them to read books, not only internet. And when they are studying online, their textbook must be by them, and they must take down notes, must take down handwritten notes. You have to somehow persuade them. Don't fight them. If you want to, show this clip to them, because they listen to science. So always I say, I have many books on this. I have written, these books are available St. Thomas's College book cupboard. They are also available from Sarasavi and Vijitayapa bookshops, and from Apeksha Bookshop at Borella, 374 Serpentine Road near the Oval, and Apeksha Bookshop at Moratuwa, opposite the Moratuwa Stadium. So please get some of these books: Right Learning, Mom and Dad Mistake Management, Parenting in a Digital Age. Please get these books, and these books are readable with the child. They are written like that. They can pick up the science so that you don't have to fight the child. Fourth track is the logical management mathematical track. Remember, mathematics promotes planning. So whether the child is very good at math or not, always get them to work some math daily as part of school habit, school studies also, because working out math is planning step by step. It improves their management ability even in daily life. So don't force them saying you must get 100 out of 100 for math. Some children can, some children can't, but all children must do some math. Otherwise you become very disorganized in your head. Then these are the do work tracks. Then there are 3 other tracks that run through the posterior part of the brain: kinesthetic, acoustic and visual. So the pixel screen completely increases the kinesthetic, acoustic and visual and dumps down the early tracks: empathic, intuitive, relational, linguistic and management tracks. That's the problem of the screen. When a kid is on the screen, they want to do more kinesthesia, more visual and more acoustic. So you have to guard against that. Next track, next slide. So the 3 features that the screen, too much of screen shows up, is inattention, where span is reduced and the attention depth is reduced. So the child is listening at school and thinking she's understanding, but she's not understanding. Then they go through the book and they think they understand when the teacher is speaking, but they are not understanding because the attention depth has reduced. Attention has become short and shallow. This is a great loss. So parent, from the age of 6, you have to be watchful about your child's habits and reduce the screen. Usually parents get all agog when they are 13, 14 about exam results and how they will do in the O-level and so on. Too late. By that time they have developed their habits. By that time they are not listening to you, they are listening to your peers. Lot of effort has to be put into it. Last Thursday I sat with 2 parents and a very, very nice 14-year-old boy. Only thing, he has got addicted to the screen and to music and the wrong kind of music. So there's a lot of work to do by that time. So please attend on your children when they are young. So when they are passing 14, they will still listen to you. You are already their friend. Otherwise you try to bring laws so that performance comes out. That doesn't work. You have to bond with your child and be his friend from very young days. Then second feature of too much screen is impulsivity, is that inner drivenness when a child is digitized, which is a feature of too much dopamine, and dopamine moving from physiological DA1 to addictive DA2 receptors, then hyperactivity. Then you'll recognize, those who are doctors will recognize, these are the 3 features of ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So my presentation to SLMA academic sessions in 2019 was on this, and my academic paper is available. If you want to have it, please send me a WhatsApp to 076 313 4800. I need to remind you again that this Saturday, 27th Saturday 4 p.m, we have an on-site program at 374 Serpentine Road, Empathic Learning Center. Please reserve now by sending a WhatsApp, because many parents want to come. We can accommodate only a limited number. We can accommodate only about 40 parents and 40 kids. But we require father and mother both to come, because dad has to own the problem. You can't palm it on the mother. I think I have spoken enough for one chat. Let me see the next slide. I have already spoken about preserving sleep somehow. This slide says consequences on school life of too much screen, attention span and depth decrease, boredom, inability to focus or concentrate, chronic fatigue syndrome of the young. This is common with girls. Once two parents came to meet me with a girl. She was about 14. Parents were teachers, very concerned for their daughter. Then mother kept saying, "Darling, show the doctor your arm." So she wasn't, and then after a while she pulled up her sleeve. There was a big gash on her forearm, healed, with a big scar. She has slashed herself. Then she got very bold and said, "It's like this, doctor. Life is about experiments and experiences. I want to experience death." Can you see how much the screen gets hold of them for experiments, and you can't experience death and come out of it. Thankfully that was prevented, but it was a big gash. It must have bled a lot. So they think learning is uninteresting, and when they get into chronic fatigue syndrome, they are dopamine depleted. That's why they do this cutting and things like that to get the thrill back. So long before that you have to watch. Another parent came with a sweet 12-year-old boy. He was allowed to do gaming into the night, and one night he came crashing into the parents' bedroom saying, "Out of the screen came a monster." And from that day, through the window monsters come. Through every mirror had to be closed up because monsters come at him. So you can see a lot of work had to be done. You can see allowing kids to be on the screen, what a lot of trouble it brings. Don't fight them, work with them, somehow get them on sports. Always, if you have a little garden, you play some cricket with them, preferably daily, at least weekend. Dad, for heaven's sake, you need to know that, and your children's sake, if you birth children, you have to care for them, bond with them. I emphasize the dad factor because mother is already doing all she can, and when a problem arises, as I told at the beginning, father tends to abdicate. That won't do. When mother makes it daily safe, but when boundaries are violated, problems come in, father has to step in. So thrill-seeking behavior gets entrenched in them. Therefore, they go into addictions, checking out on drugs and so on, gambling, pornography, sexual thrills, which are very damaging. So you need to watch them, help them out of that behavior. Recruiting anti-reward system, pain becomes pleasure. That's why they injure themselves. Self-harm. Isolated selfie behavior. So I described to you the empathic motor therapy. Can you, yes, where we have a 3,600 square feet floor with grips and ropes. I call it GARTS, G-A-R-T-S, grips and rope thrill skill. We have an outdoor center also in Jayala, Pamanagama, where we organize programs for schools and corporates to come, where young people get addicted young people, when they have an outing with proper thrills, with proprioception and glutamate taking over and putting down dopamine, which is the thrill problem, then at the end of the day they forget quite a lot of that digitization. So that also we organize. We can keep you informed. Please send your WhatsApp to WhatsApp message if you want further information, 076-313-4800. If you are abroad, of course, it has to be 94-76-313-4800. Remember, this Saturday is the program on site. Please send a WhatsApp and book your place to come with your kid. We are catering for kids between 8 to 20. Empathic Motor Therapy Center will be fully functioning. So will be the Empathic Learning Therapy Center, which is for younger children with crafts and take-in games. Thank you for listening. Spread the message. Share this clip with I can send this clip to you if you send me your WhatsApp number. share it with other parents, because with increased online studies the problem has increased also. Thank you for listening. I am Dr. Lalith. I was the founding head of pharmacology in the State Medical Faculty. Thank you for listening.